guys are here with me every day. Like I said, today's audience is a little smaller than usual, but that's okay. We're starting a new month. So every month for this book, he has a different theme. This one is called The Cosmic Sublime, Expanding the Mind to Its Furthest Reaches. He says, you determine the quality of your mind by the nature of your daily thoughts. If they circle around the same obsessions and dramas, you create an arid and monotonous, why can't I say that? Monotonous mental landscape. Like boring is what it means, and repetitive. And this secretly makes you miserable. Instead, you must seek to radiate your mind outward, to unleash your imagination and intensify your experience of life. I like that. And the furthest you can expand the mind is by connecting it to the cosmic sublime. Consider the limitlessness of space and time, the unspeakably awesome chain of events triggered by the Big Bang. We don't need to talk about if the Big Bang really happened or not. Return to the very origins of our planet by visiting central primeval landscapes. Primeval. Yeah. I love doing these readings. They always challenge me to learn new words. Think of the infinite nature of the human brain as a mirror of the infinite cosmos. Meditate on our common mortality. You are in fact surrounded every day by endless marvels, and to the degree you let them into your daily consciousness, you expand your mind and reinvigorate its immersive powers. The month of December will help you expand your mind to its furthest reaches, the cosmic sublime. It's fucking epic. Okay, another little precursor before today's reading. This one's a little long, but you guys are just going to fucking deal with it today. Ready? Death. It's our greatest fear. But this fear has effects we are not even aware of. It infects our mental life in general. It secretly instills a fear of life. Much of the latent chronic anxiety that plagues most of us is rooted in the inability to confront our mortality. We live in a culture that takes death denial to the extreme, banishing the presence of death as much as possible. It's very true. If you go back hundreds of years, you could not have failed. You could not have failed to see people die in front of you. You might see it on the streets or in your home. Most people had to kill their own food. You saw animals being slaughtered in front of your eyes. Death had a presence, and it was constantly there. And so people were thinking about it all the time. And they had religion to help soothe the idea of their mortality. We now live in a world where it's the complete opposite. We have to repress the very thought of it. We can't see it anywhere. It's put into hospitals where it's sanitized, where it happens behind closed doors. Nobody ever talks about it. Nobody tells you this is probably the most important life skill that you could have, to know how to deal with the fear of death. Nobody teaches that. Your parents don't talk about it. Your girlfriend or boyfriend, they don't talk about it. Nobody. It's a dirty little secret. But it's the only reality we have. We are all going to die. So instead of denial of it, if you're repressing it, which most people are, it comes out in secret ways. It makes you anxious in your daily life because you're not dealing with one of the most important things. You don't realize it, but it's infecting you in your day-to-day decisions, how you interact with people. It's very simple. You need to confront this fear and find ways to transform it into vitality and power. Think of it this way. You could die tomorrow. You have no control over this. You could be young. You could be 24 years old. People die young all the time. Understand what that means. It means your time is limited. You don't have these vast decades of life in front of you. You have the dreams and aspirations and things that you want to accomplish, but knowing the shortness and precariousness of life gives you a sense of urgency. It makes you also appreciate everything around you that you see. It makes life more vivid and intense by understanding that any day now, it could be ripped away from you. I personally had this brought home to me like a slap in the face. 2 months after I finished The Laws of Human Nature, I suffered a stroke. It was a rather severe stroke in which I was very fortunate to survive, not have permanent brain damage. It was just a matter of minutes, and then it was over. I was in a coma, and upon waking from that, the whole left side of my body was basically paralyzed. Movement slowly came back, but I had to confront this reality just after I wrote the chapter on meditating on our common mortality. And what I wrote about in that book is true. Now, I look around me at all I see. I look at all that I have and the experience that makes everything more intense. The colors are more intense. The sounds are more intense. The feeling of being connected to other people is more intense because now I'm aware not just of my own mortality, but that of the people I'm with. My girlfriend, she could be gone tomorrow. My mother and my sister, they could be gone tomorrow. My friends, they could be gone tomorrow. I have to appreciate them on a high level. I have to understand that everybody has this in them. And knowing that other people are also facing it is a way for me to connect to them, a way to deepen my empathy on a very primal human level. The essential power that confronting your mortality will give you, I call it the sublime. Because it also opens up this idea of how amazing the world is that we live in and how much we take for granted because we think we're going to live forever. It's an incredibly important concept to me, and it's also very personal in the sense that I came this close to dying myself. I compare it to standing at the shore of some vast ocean. The fear of that dark ocean makes you turn away and retreat. I want you to get into your little boat, and I want you to go into that ocean and explore it. Damn, that's fucking epic. So December 1st, the reading from today, it's short. The infinite and the awesome. Whereas all the other animals, this is a quote from Ovid. I don't know who Ovid is. Whereas all the other animals have their heads low and eyes fixed upon the ground, the gods desired to give man a sublime face, a face that could raise its eyes to the heavens above, contemplating the very stars in the sky. He says we can define the cosmic sublime in the following way. It's an encounter with any physical object that embodies or implies a sense of the infinite in space or time. In the ancient world, our ancestors understood this deep human need. In cultures all around the world, they created rituals, often rites of initiation, that triggered awareness of the magnificent forces that transcend the human. Shamans or wise elders often served as guides. In our culture, we don't easily find such guides or accepted means of encountering the cosmic sublime. In fact, the opposite. The media that dominates our minds gluts us on trivia and the exaggerated dramas of the moment. If we seek the expansion that will pull us out of our mental ruts, we are largely on our own. Fortunately, however, this is not difficult as we might imagine it to be. We are surrounded by embodiments of the infinite and the awesome. The infinite comes in many forms: silence, seemingly endless horizons, blank spaces, etc., etc. What matters is our level of attunement to these places, our desire to expand and transcend our usual limits, and our willingness to let go of any distractions and open ourselves to the elements. We are after an experience, not more talk. The Daily Law: pull your mind away from the dramas of the moment and seek expansion. So that's today's reading and today's introduction to what December's readings will be focused on, the cosmic sublime. That's, again, from Robert Greene's new book, The Daily Laws. That was pretty epic.